guys! Today I'm going to show you how to make a super comfortable full-length dress for the summer. It's super easy and lots of fun, so if you want to know how I did this, then stick around for the tutorial. So the fabric that I'm going to be using for this dress looks like this. It's kind of a weird stripy stretchy polyester. It's super comfortable, very light. So the first thing that I need to do is take my measurements. This is what the finished dress will look like, but we're going to cut out two pieces that are just simple big squares. So you're only going to need two measurements for this. The full length measurement that you want, which doesn't start here with the straps, it starts like up here, and add 4 centimeters to all measurements, remember this. And then the other measurement, which is where you are the biggest. So for me, that's going to be my hips. So I'm going to take that measurement and then I'm going to add like 10 centimeters because I don't want it to be super tight. I want it to be nice and flowy. So maybe 10 or 15 centimeters I'm going to add to that measurement and then cut that measurement in half, obviously, because we're going to make 2 of these pieces, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is sew the 2 pieces together by the sides, just all the way along the long side to make them into a tube. As always, I pin the 2 pieces facing each other, so right now the insides are facing out. And when you're sewing a patterned fabric like this, make sure that you pin so that the stripes meet each other, because it's going to be crooked otherwise. When you're done with sewing both sides, flip your dress the correct way and decide which up or down you want to be the top. So the next part is breaking out your elastic. I'm using one that's, let's see, 30 millimeters thick. So adapt your elastic to where you want the top of your dress to go, which is above your boobs. I don't want mine to be super tight, just enough to stay on there. And we're going to sew straps as well. You don't have to do that, you can leave it as a two-top dress if you want, but I like having straps. Then just sew your elastic shut right here. The elastic has been sewn shut. As you can see, I'm using white thread just to be able to show you guys that I go back and forth several times just to make sure that it lasts. Then flip it over the right way so that the seam ends up on the inside. Then we're going to attach it to the dress. This is the top of the dress facing the right way, you guys. So what I need to do right now is pull the dress into the elastic, like this, and pin the elastic to the top of the dress, because then once it's sewn to the very top right here, it's going to be flipped over once and then one more time. So we're going to get a nice closed edge. But you can also sew the edge in the end if you want it to be really nice and sealed. Since the elastic is super elastic and we have a lot more fabric than we do elastic, the elastic is going to need to be stretched as we pin and as we sew. So I'm placing the sewn edge against the sewn edge of the dress, and finding the middle and putting that against the other sewn edge of the dress, so that it's nice and even. And then stretch like crazy and pin. And then you sew as close to the top line as possible all the way around while stretching. Your elastic now looks like this, and we're going to flip it over one more time so that we don't see the elastic, which means that we're going to have to sew and stretch one more time to give that a nice closed edge. But we're not going to do that right now. We're going to do that when we sew the straps on. So next up, it's time for the second elastic, which means that it's time to try the dress on. Dress looks like this on, not very pretty. We want it to be tight below the boobs. So it's time to break out the second elastic. For this, I'm using 6mm simple white, and it's going to be sewn to the inside. So what I need to do is do the same thing that we did with the black one, and just decide how tight I want this to be. Then sew these edges closed, just like we did with the first elastic. Next up, you need to mark where you want your lower elastic to go. Mine is going to go right about here. I'm going to put a marking pin here so that I know where it is. Then I'm going to take the dress off, flip it inside out, and sew the other elastic on. Dress now looks like this. Could not make this elastic super tight, unfortunately, because I had so much fabric to work with, but I think it looks okay anyway. Next step now is to sew the straps. First thing you need to do for that is measure how long you want your straps to be. Take that measurement and then add 4 centimeters. For the straps, I've cut 2 strips out of the fabric that are 3 times thicker than I want the end strap to be. And I'm going to fold them and create straps out of them. I'm going to be using a technique that I've showed you in previous videos where I fold over once. The fabric wants to stop doing that, thank you. Twice, and then fold over a 3rd time. Pin that and sew as close to the edge as possible. Next up, pin your straps to the dress where you want them to go on the inside, and then while we sew the straps on, we're going to sew this entire seam, which is going to be more of a decorative seam, and it's going to keep the dress from flipping like this when it comes to the elastic. This doesn't look very good, so we want it to stay like this. So that's why we're going to sew all the way around once we're happy with where the straps are. Only one step remains now, and that is hemming the bottom of the dress. So try your dress on so you know how long it is, and then just put pins in where you want it, hem it, and then we are done.